The Mugen RR or Mugen RR, depending on who you're speaking to, is without question the most hardcore Civic ever officially produced for the road. And that really is saying something, considering the latest FK2 Type R is much more powerful, much faster. So what made the Mugen RR so special? For starters, it was based on the FD2 Civic Type R, a car which itself was deemed too hardcore, too track focused to ever be sold here in Europe, and was retained for the Japanese domestic market only. It was though the Type R that all European enthusiasts pined for. In many ways it was more of a spiritual successor to the DC5 Integra than the EP3 Civic, and it was significantly more capable than the softer FN2 Civic that we received as well. In fact, the FD2 was often found to be a couple of seconds faster around circuits than the hatch. This car though, the Mugen RR, is a couple of seconds faster still, making it a serious track weapon indeed. Now I'm a real sucker for a B series engine. The B16B in the EK9, the B18C in the DC2. For me, those engines are what VTEC running gear is all about. I mean, yes, they scream, but they're almost organic by nature. They have a coarseness about them, a real personality. Now for me, the K20 is almost a little bit too refined. It's a bit too smooth. It's a bit too advanced. Yes, it's quick and has great tuning potential, but it just lacks that little bit of drama. In this car though, Mugen has sorted that right out. The carbon intake and improved exhaust system make the world of difference. The K20 feels like it's got a bigger set of lungs to play with. It breathes much harder. The engineers have clearly mapped in a sharper throttle response as well. Very small movements of your right foot have a big effect on acceleration. It's actually something you need to watch out for, because as you hit bumps in the road, because the throttle pedal is so light, your foot can bounce off the throttle. But to be honest, the easiest way to rectify that is simply to keep it planted. But what really makes a difference here are those aggressive cams. They don't roughen up the idle too much, but they add a coarseness which I absolutely love. You obviously feel it more once VTEC has done its job, but it almost feels like a good old-fashioned B-series engine, and that works for me. So how did Mugen's engineers take something that was already so brilliant and transform it into something so unbelievably rapid? Well, it's all about three things: power to weight, a less compromised chassis, and improved aero. Let's talk about that power to weight ratio for a moment. The bonnet is aluminium, while the front bumper, grille, intake, air scoops, under tray, Recaro seats and rear wing are all constructed from carbon fibre. In total, Mugen's people have reduced the curb weight of the RR by 10.4 kilos, and that's despite additions like arch extensions, a lower boot spoiler and wider wheels. The power to weight ratio improves further thanks to the running gear. Under that aluminium bonnet sits a reworked K20A VTEC engine. It's still a 2-litre inline 4-cylinder unit, but power has been upped from 222 brake horsepower to 237 brake horsepower. That's a 15 brake horsepower hike that comes courtesy of a new camshaft setup, an uprated intake system, a bespoke 421 exhaust manifold and a free-flowing twin-exit exhaust. Oh, and of course, some special Mugen mapping. Now I'll 10.4 kilo weight reduction and a 15 horsepower gain may not sound particularly enthralling, but what Honda and by extension Mugen have managed to master over the years is the ability to make numerous fine adjustments which, when made together, have a huge impact on a car's ultimate performance and its drivability. The NA1 NSX Type R was a perfect example of that, and with the Mugen RR it's exactly the same story. What enables the Mugen RR to get round track so quickly though is the chassis. Mugen has added a set of its own dampers and springs which make it sit about 10mm lower than a stock FD2. The springs are of course stiffer, but get this, the dampers are adjustable. You can't alter the ride height, but you get 5 damper settings to choose from, which you have to adjust manually with a special tool. I'm not sure what setting Torque GT has got this example on, but on these uneven A roads it feels just about right. The chassis is really supple, it absorbs the bumps really nicely. But you know what, it's the precision and the predictability of that steering that really gets you, it's incredible. Initially I thought the steering was a little bit light, but the more you get involved, the more you realise there's just no vagueness at all. The brakes really help with this too. Instead of trying to up the stopping power, Mugen has focused on pedal feel and predictability. It's the same Brembo calipers, the same size discs, 320mm as on the FD2, but Mugen have fitted a set of its own lightweight grooved discs, which feel like they provide a bit of extra bite, and the knees are cooled by those lower carbon air scoops. The middle pedal feels nice and firm, less spongy than a stock FD2. I think that's down to the braided lines, but the whole suspension and brake setup means you can take the mick a bit with how you drive. And you can arrive at corners at ridiculous speeds, at ridiculous angles, and still get the thing turned in. The rear, it lifts a little, but that just points the nose in even tighter. And then once you're into a corner, the car feels so planted, so stable. There's notably more grip too than in a stock FD2. I love these carbon Recaros as well. To be honest, they make me realise I need to get back down the gym, but it's these upper bolsters here, they roll your shoulders forward, encourage you into an attack position. And then there's a short shift on this 6-speed box. It's sweet as you like. It's really light, but there's a real clunk, a real purpose to each change. Essentially, what Mugen has done here is build the kind of Honda that we all strive to build. They've increased the power, sharpened the handling, fitted a racy interior, added some really cool lightweight aero parts, and made the whole package much more exhilarating to drive. Not only that, but by only producing 300 examples, they've guaranteed exclusivity. Rumour has it that all 300 were sold within 10 minutes of going on sale, and that if you need a replacement front bumper or a wheel, you have to prove that you own a genuine RR before Mugen will supply you one. They clearly never wanted FD2 owners building replicas. What all of that means is buying one of these machines is a sound investment. Values haven't dropped since they were new. When it comes to front wheel drive Hondas then, the Mugen RR is simply as good as it gets.